Welcome to The Voice Brazil. How is everybody? Leo, how are you tonight? Are you
Yeah,
okay?
I'm good. Thank you. Welcome to Voice from Brazil. First of all, I would like to thank all you who are here tonight. I'm looking to we have 95 here tonight. This is very good. So thank you for staying here. Please share your like. Deixa seu like aí antes de sair, por favor, pra gente bombar essa transmissão. What we would like to do here is try to reach people outside Brazil with the news from Brazil, because in the past we had a very strong problem in Brazil, which was the mainstream media saying that Brazil is the most corrupt country in the world, and we need to share news from
It's
Brazil
not.
so we can show to the people that this is very difficult thing for Brazil today, and this is not the reality. We are getting stronger every day. And today, uh, one important news we need to share with the world is that Lula, Brazilian president, was chosen to lead Venezuela's way out of embargo. United States want Venezuela back to the game, but they can't say to the world that Venezuela just became a democracy from nothing. And now Lula was chosen to lead the elections into Venezuela and to show to the world that Venezuela is not. Venezuela is now a democracy. So just that is not a dictatorship. Sorry.
I think it's quite funny that some people still think Brazil is the most corrupted country in the world. I mean, have you seen United States, India, and mm,
The point is
but all right.
the mainstream media over the world, they say what will give them more money. And because in that
Absolutely.
time Lava Jato was used to to drive money from Brazil outside Brazil, because they used Lava Jato to give money from Brazilian shareholders of Petrobras to international shareholders of Petrobras. All mainstream media that time was supporting the claim that Petrobras had a corruption inside Petrobras, because the richers of the world wanted Petrobras to be um, sold, let Petrobras to be privatized.
Yeah, you can keep talking. I am just getting ready.
Yeah, I believe that these are the news that we need to say today about America and about Brazil. Third, Cúpula, European Union, and CELAC, America Latina Unida, United.
America
This
Latina
is
is
in
united
Portuguese.
toward a multipolar world as the natural leader of the Latin America bloc, which composed 33 of the 60 countries that make up the United of the EU and CELAC. Lula spoke on behalf of a nascent multipolar world. And that's
Yes,
beautiful.
and Lula was chosen to speak in the name of Latin America. We have a project here in Latin America to have the same level of integration that they have in European Union. So what we will have in next years probably will be Brazil leading Latin American Union. So Latin American Union is getting stronger, and because of that, doesn't make sense for the United States keep Venezuela into an embargo process. United States is losing business because they just don't want to do business with Venezuela, who has the more powerful oil stocks in the world. So they don't want to buy oil from Venezuela. They want to keep Venezuela into embargo, to push Venezuela into a crisis. And into that crisis, they want Venezuela just to replace the president. This is not working. United States just understood that makes more sense just do clear business with Venezuela than try to deploy the president in Venezuela, and now Lula was chosen to do this work. Lula, who is president of Brazil, Brazilian president, was chosen to drive the perception of the world about Venezuela and about Nicolas Maduro. To do this, we are going to sorry, we are going to have new elections in Venezuela. And after those elections, they are going to say that, okay, now we have democratic elections in Venezuela. And now Nicolas Maduro is the president. He's not a dictatorship anymore. It's not a dictatorship. He's not a dictator. He is a legitimate president of Venezuela. And now we can do business with Venezuela with no problems. That's the drive out of Venezuela. That's the Venezuela getting back to the games and international games, of course. And this is going to be a fair game. This is going to be a game for Venezuela and United States, because United States they are very specialized in refinement of oil from Venezuela. They have refineries that make the Venezuela oil like they they process Venezuela oil, and they have specialized industries for this kind of oil, and doesn't make sense for them to keep this fight
To
against Venezuela.
produce refined oil.
Refinery.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
Let's keep
Let's go.
learning. Me too.
Let's bring another news.
Sure. Campus Neto tries to impose censorship on BC directors and prohibits interviews. Target is Gallipolo. I don't know who Gallipolo
Uh,
is. You have to tell
that's
me.
that's a very interesting point. Here in Brazil, we didn't used to have a free central bank which is rolled by the market. But now that we have a free central bank, the president of our free central bank doesn't want to share the freedom with his directors. And because Galipo is going to be the next president of central bank, now he is suffering from the actual president, a censorship. But Galipo just understand that he doesn't need to obey the actual president of central bank anyway. Any fight between the actual president of our central bank with Galipo is gonna be very interesting for Galipo, because the actual president of central bank is rolling the central bank against Brazil, is doing a job for the shareholders, those one who give money to the government, like the ones who loan money to the government. He's keeping the interest rate very high, and this is not permitting development in Brazil. So everybody wants Campos Neto, who is the actual president of central bank, out. And because of that, this fight between Galipo and Campos Neto is very interesting, because endorses the way we need to think about the next president of central banks, is who is not going to keep the monetary policy that the actual president of central bank is doing, which is the worst monetary policy Brazil could have right now, because now we have a monetary policy that is asking for people to keep money on bank, do not invest, do not generate employment, and is something that we a heritage from the last president. Bolsonaro, who is the one who chosen the actual president of central bank, just wanted to keep the money in the hands of rich people, because Lula is trying to share the money in Brazil with the poor people. The actual president of central bank is trying just to drive the economy down and to keep the money just in the hands of rich people.
Let me talk something about very interesting. This Paulinho Pancada say I love smoking marijuana. And that reminded me that today we had Disney right here. Anvisa prohibits the import of medical marijuana flowers. They are prohibiting any new how can I say here? See, anyone, no one can import marijuana
No
anymore
one,
for
uh,
medical reason, for medical purpose. Any part of the flower or any part of the plant. I think this is very disturbing, actually.
of course, we have a strong movement from the pharmaceutical companies to stop the use of marijuana and marijuana in medical for medical purpose. And what they do is, of course, push a lobby over Anvisa, which is an independent body in Brazil. The president can choose the president of Anvisa, but once the president is chosen, Anvisa does whatever it wants to do. And of course, even though marijuana is proven to be very beneficial to health, we have a strong problem because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want the scientific community to run researches about marijuana. And because the community cannot run research, we don't have sufficient evidences of
No,
marijuana in
actually,
humans.
yes, that's true. But the argument that this, look at this, including the right risk of the version of these products for illicit purpose and compliance with international drugs. So they think that people are using this import of the marijuana flowers for illegal uses.
Of course,
That's their argument.
this is what they are going to say always. But what we need to ask Anvisa is why black label medicines can be used in Brazil, and we know that anybody here can buy clonazepam or other black label medicines that are usually used illegally, as we can buy alcohol, as we can buy many kind of drugs as cigarettes, but we cannot buy marijuana because marijuana is a very strong medicine and it can disturb the pharmaceutical companies. And the explanation is very simple because to process clonazepam, to process and to make at is almost impossible for you. Of course, we have some handmade alcohol drinks, but the drink industry is very high and more efficient. But the pharmaceutical products we can have from marijuana can be processed at home. So the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want humanity to have access to marijuana because they don't want to lose the money they profit from black label medicines. The point is, I don't know how to do a drug like clonazepam, which is very used in Brazil, Rivotril, the name we use for commercial name in Brazil. I don't know how to do that. But of course, I know how to use marijuana. Anyone can use marijuana, but nobody can make at home clonazepam, for example. So the pharmaceutical companies will always keep their profit prohibiting medicines that can be made at home. You need to switch on your audio device.
Oh no, I just was just making a joke as I was saying that you can make at home if you're breaking in bed, if you're breaking bad. But you know.
Yes, of course.
Never
The point
mind. Let's
is,
keep
it's
going.
too expensive to have a home laboratory. Think that, okay,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
use marijuana, you just need a little bit of space with a soil. You don't need to have ground. You can have a pack of soil, and that's okay. You can make marijuana. But if you want to make clonazepam, something like that, is very difficult. It's very expensive, and the pharmaceutical companies, they do that for you and they sell it for you.
Oh yes. Okay. Next one. Just 1 second. U.S. Undersecretary of State travels to Brazil to meet with senior officers. Victoria Nuland will meet with President Adverso Celso Amorim, Secretary General of Foreign Affairs Maria Laura da Rocha, and others government officials.
We have many meetings between United States and Brazil. From the start of Lula government, we used to have many meetings, and of course we don't know exactly what those meetings are about, but one thing that we know is Brazil is playing a central role in Latin America. And of course, part of those meetings can be connected to what we said that Venezuela needs to be out of embargo. Venezuela needs to be making business with the United States and the rest of the world. Of course, the United States are losing money because they don't do business with Venezuela. They don't buy oil from Venezuela as they could be buying. And because of this, someone needs to talk about the drive out of Venezuela from dictatorship to a democracy. The point is, it's very difficult for the United States take Venezuela out of dictatorship into a democracy, but keeping the president. So, what they are going to do is very simple. They are going to use Lula to use his power of neutrality to inspect the elections in Venezuela. And the word of Lula that the elections were just will be used to explain to the world that Venezuela was, let's say, yesterday with Venezuela was a dictatorship, but from today onwards, Venezuela is a democracy, and as a democracy, we can buy from Venezuela, you can sell to Venezuela, and Venezuela's oil is coming to Brazil again.
Well, I just want to ask everyone to follow the channel, please, and leave a like to help us. And let's keep going.
I believe that
Flávio
it's
Bolsonaro.
possible to reach 1,000 followers in this channel today. So please follow Voice from
Help
Brazil.
us, please.
Quem tiver ainda que não for inscrito, inscreva-se aqui nesse canal para a gente chegar a 1.000 inscritos hoje. Então, muito obrigado. Quem não fala português, compartilhe nos grupos de pessoas que moram fora do Brasil, porque eu tenho certeza que a gente vai acabar alcançando as pessoas fora do Brasil.
Deixem um like, por favor. Flávio Bolsonaro is mocked in the networks after defending the impeachment of Barroso.
Yeah, we have a very funny occurrence in Brazil today. That it's the family of the ex-president, the former president Bolsonaro. They want a minister of Supreme Court out because this minister of Supreme Court said that Brazil has beaten Bolsonarism, and he put together Nazism, Bolsonarism, and fascism. The point we have to say now is that anybody who is in Brazil right now knows that Barroso, the minister they want to take out of Supreme Court, is not a left-wing minister. And if Barroso gets out, Lula is going to choose the next minister in Brazil. So anything for us is okay. If they take out Barroso, we will have the chance to have another minister which is left wing, and it's going to
So
be
we think they should do it. It's okay.
yes.
No
So
problem at all.
if the if the Bolsonaro's family and other people, let's say the right wing spectrum in Brazil, want to take out Barroso from the Supreme Court, it's gonna be all right. That's not a problem for Lula, who is going to be the one to choose the next minister. So if they want to do that, that's okay. We are going to say thank you. You are going to have we are going to have a chance to have another minister in Brazil who is going to be left wing spectrum. And the more important than that is this liberal one is going to be out of the Supreme Court. So thank you, Bolsonaro. Take this war for us. So you are going to fight for us, and we are going to commemorate with you. We are going to celebrate with you because the next minister is going to be chosen by our president.
That's so fun. I mean, come on. Good for us. Images from Rome airport confirm aggression against Moraes' son. The PF, the Federal Police, understand that so far the version offered by Minister Moraes correspond to the facts.
The importance of those images is that the aggressor said that nothing has happened in the airport. Who doesn't know what happened was uh, three people from Brazil. They tried uh, to beat Minister of Supreme Court and his family. And after that, the Minister of Supreme Court, of course, giving this problem to Brazilian police, they said that they didn't do that. So we Brazilians were waiting for the images from Rome airport to have the chance to know what has happened. And what has happened was the Minister of Supreme Court, of course, this version corresponds to the facts. So today we have two words into Brazil. The word from Bolsonaro people from the right wing who says that, oh, nothing has happened because this man said that nothing has happened. And the word from the Minister of Supreme Court that now the images from Rome airport confirm his version about aggression against Moraes, against himself.
And with actions like that, our minister, we ended up getting a private plane, right?
This is
No.
something that I believe because if the right wing keep doing those aggressions against Moraes, what will happen in the future will be that this minister of Supreme Court in Brazil will have his plane from Brazilian government, from Brazilian Air Force, because of course today after this aggression, Moraes will have support from the police in Brazil, and we will reach to the point where Moraes will have his private plane. So anything that the right wing wants to do against Moraes will be from his benefit because now he has a supplementary police force to protect him. And next level, I believe that will be that Moraes will have a plane for himself from Brazilian Air Force.
And that's funny because they're gonna hate it, the right
Of
wing.
course, anything that the right wing is doing today is just reflecting
Coming back and
against
biting
them.
them in the ass, basically.
Yes, coming back.
Sorry.
Yes, that's the good word for that. Absolutely.
Haddad announced bill to tax super rich firms. The proposal will be included with the 2024 budget, the presentation of which is required by August 31.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the reason why rich people don't like Lula's government. In Brazil, we used to have this progressive government who used to work for the poor people. And after that, the rich people did a state queue in Brazil. And after that, rich people started to have too many benefits from the government. And the cost is that many people in Brazil went into the starving. Now we have another kind of mentality in Brazil, and the minister of how do we say minister of fazenda? I don't know, maybe minister,
First minister, no, prime minister.
not prime minister, but minister of
That's
economy.
fine.
That's the best way to say about Haddad. What he does in Brazil is minister of
Hi.
the economy. And this minister, as a minister of economy, now he wants to bill to tax, announces a bill to tax super rich funds. And those super
Finally.
rich don't want to be taxed. So this is the reason why rich people support Bolsonaro in Brazil, because they don't want to pay taxes. And of course,
And people who think they are super rich, which
and
they are
in
not.
Brazil, of course, we have the people who think they are super rich. We say poor of the right wing, because the meaning of right wing in Brazil is different from the meaning of right wing around the world. Right wing in Brazil means the people who are rich and they understand that they don't need any support from the government because they can pay by themselves for everything. But here in Brazil, we have people that are right wing and they still use public education, they still use public health system, they need those benefits from the government, but they think that they are rich, so they support right wing because they don't know what's the meaning of right wing in economy. But of course, rich people like Mantovani, who is the aggressor of the minister of Supreme Court, they support right wing because they don't want to pay taxes. And Haddad is here to say that they will have to pay taxes in 2024.
I think a good term for those people would be poor plus.
Poor
Yeah.
plus. Poor plus, okay. And now let's read some comments here. I will leave
Yeah.
with you, but please do it, but do it fast so we don't keep the live in silence.
Yes, sir. You can read.
You can read.
What é FIDOBIL? What is FIDOBIL? Anyway. Boa noite. Boa noite. Good night.
Good night.
Boa noite, meu caro Léo. Good night. Good evening. Dona Maria Socorro. Let's go, guys. Come on. Let's see. Let's show the world the Brazilian reality. Yes, that's
Thank you,
exactly the
Italo.
point. Thank you. Dona Maria Socorro. Thank you. Good night for you too. I adore her. Boa noite, Léo. Caminhando longe. And
Thank you,
this
Gina.
one, I didn't get it.
Thank you, Italo.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Osmarina
Osmarina.
Caroba.
Caroba. Carlos Sergio. Good night, Stoppa and Alana. Thank you, Carlos Sergio. Good night.
We will go Carlos Augusto Silva. I don't know what you meant, but okay.
Thank you, Carlos. Hi, Leo. Hi, Alana. This project will be very important to international community success. Thank you, Mauricio Teixeira.
Oh, gente, do they coming or what? Deu bug. I love it.
Thank you, Ítalo. É 23h30. Dá aquele tempinho para pular de uma live para outra.
Oh, thank you, Reinaldo Lopes.
Thank you, Reinaldo Lopes.
Welcome,
Italo,
everyone.
welcome, everyone. Thank you, Ítalo.
Welcome,
Angelica
Angelica.
Argolo. Thank you, Angelica. Welcome.
Oh, Dona Maria Socorro, thank you.
Obrigado, Maria. Ana Bastos, good evening. Obrigado, Ana.
Thank you, Carlos.
Obrigado, Carlos.
Very good job. Well done, Alana and Leonardo. Thank you, Jonas. Thank you.
Obrigado, Jonas.
Oh,
The interesting
Reinaldo.
point is people watching from outside, the Voice from Brazil, they will learn a little bit of Portuguese as well, because sometimes we have to translate from Portuguese to English and vice versa. So people watching Voice from Brazil will learn some Portuguese. This is a kind of connection and integration as well.
Yeah, and we are gonna learn some English too. Sometimes. Anyway. Carlos Sérgio, thank you.
Thank you, Aninha Meirelles. Vamos vê-la aqui. Maria Socorro. Thank you, Maria Socorro. Good evening, Leo. Thank you, Alexandre Jonas Jr. Is this the new from Brazil? Yes, those news are from Brasil 247. Brasil 247. Yes.
247.
Hello,
Oh,
Alana.
hi, Aninha. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Aninha. I believe that this is something you said. Lava Jato was a machine used to destroy our Brazil. It
It
was
was a fake
a
news
fake
empire.
news empire. It's very important that Mauricio Teixeira and other people do things like that, because those are very important information, insert informations that we can share, as long as you help us doing those kinds of phrases that are very interesting. Like Lava Jato was a machine used to destroy our Brazil. It was a fake news empire. Yes, excellent. So please, who can help with some very important points like those? Please do it during the live voice from Brazil. Oh my heart, you're translating. This is so important. Good job. Thank you,
Thank
Jonas.
you. Yeah, cats rule. Thank you, Mauricio.
Lava Jato is dangerous. It
It was. It
it
was
was.
terrible.
It was. Of course, the TR4 keeps being dangerous. The Lava Jato by itself today is gonna uh, investigate the old Lava Jato. What is very interesting. It's not dangerous anymore. It was.
Now it's a good danger because it's danger for them.
Lula very soon will be the Nobel of Peace. We pray for that.
He was nominated for that a long time ago, didn't he?
No, the last time we had a Brazilian nominated for Nobel of Peace, the military dictatorship worked, so he was not able to get
Got it.
uh, this
Ah,
Nobel Prize.
this one already showed.
That was the first one. Alana Bob Field is a embramation, a picareta. Who is Bob Field?
I have no idea. I didn't get it. But anyway, thank you.
I think we can nominate, we can give a name for this channel as the book is on the table. That's the best name to give to the channel. But anyway, voice from Brazil will be understood outside Brazil, and I believe that the book is on the table is something that only we Brazilians understand.
I agree.
Okay, Campos Neto is Bob Field. Campos Neto. Bob Field.
Still didn't get it. But alright.
Okay, it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say thank you, and a very big thank to you who is keeping this channel alive, because what we
No,
want to
wait,
do.
wait, wait. This one is funny.
Okay. The problem is we don't have an international version of Kettle's
Oh my.
voice, but we need to do an international version of Kettle's voice. Communism is
I agree. I
ruining
agree.
us. It is transforming our communism is ruining us.
And
Is
Brazil is becoming a dictatorship. Do you
the
believe it?
phrase dictatorship.
Brasil,
Brazuela freed.
uh,
American help. American help. They are asking the United States, who now is just being a very friend of Lula, to destroy Brazilian dictatorship. Dictatorship in Brazil is a dictatorship based on democracy, because Lula is running the country just beside our parliament. So we have a dictatorship that's based on democracy. That's something that you only see on communist regimes like Brazil, where the private private economy is getting each time more stronger. Well, anyway,
And
they are implanting censorship. Oh, Angelo, we don't have censorship. We had a stupidity censorship. You would not be able to have a YouTube channel. So
the sad part
censorship
is,
based on intelligence. So censorship based on level of the intelligence. So Angelo would never had a channel in on YouTube.
and the sad part is, we spent 16 years waiting for PT start a communist dictatorship in Brazil, and it never came.
Yeah, that's a
Been
very
here
interesting
waiting,
point.
and never
We
happened.
had many years of dictatorship in Brazil, and with this dictatorship, people were getting more free because there's no way to be free if you don't have money to buy tickets for bus, for example. And in Brazil, people didn't have money to buy food. But now in Brazil, people have money to buy cars, and I believe that this is something that give you freedom. You have the freedom to
It
buy a
does.
computer to say this shit for us, and you believe that they are implanting censorship. I believe that we need a kind of time machine to send Angelo to the times of Fernando Henrique Cardoso. Those times were
Oh,
very good. And a kind of keep Angelo on the times of Bolsonaro. Though, in this
and
way,
Angelo, please follow us and keep coming back because your participation is very appreciated.
we need
It's
an
nice.
international cattle to talk with here. So we are going to do the international version of Voice of Cattle. Will be something like that. We need to keep Voz do Gado translated to Voice of Cattle because this phrase needs to be known all over the places in
I think it
Portuguese.
will be voice of sheep because in English, sheep is more like the follower instead of gado, né? It
Yes,
will be sheeps.
makes more sense, of course. So you are Angelo. Look that in English you are not gado, you are sheep. That's very interesting because it can sound like a promotion. You're not just a cattle, you are a sheep.
Yes.
Yeah, sheep is
Well,
smaller.
anyway,
But anyway, that's
thank
very
you.
interesting. We have cattle. Yesterday we had our estimating cattle, which was the sheep yesterday was Wilson, but Wilson today was not strong enough to come here because during the day I was saying to Wilson many things that I believe he didn't like, and today he didn't appear here.
But you're gonna make the sheep voice to play in the voice of Brazil from Brazil.
Of course,
That's it.
it shows
That's
that
gonna be
we
fun.
still need the sheep's voice to run in English. We can. I didn't believe that we had people, supporters of Bolsonaro, able to speak English. That's a very interesting point
Yeah,
because supporters of Bolsonaro are not able to think, but they can
no,
write. And now
it's
we
quite
have supporters
shocking.
of Bolsonaro
Yes.
that can write in English, and that's something that doesn't make sense. How can it be? How can that be possible that a person can, at the same time, to have brain and to support Bolsonaro? We need to find
And
a way to
speaking
explain
English.
that.
Maybe Google Translate. Who knows?
Maybe, but anyway, the next time we are going to explain how supporters of Bolsonaro believe in flat Earth and other things like the liquid ship behind the vaccination. We are going to
Oh
explain
my.
those things to people around the world. That's going to be very interesting to explain to people how Bolsonaro's supporters are too stupid in Brazil. That's going to be fun because I believe that nowhere in the world we can find people like Bolsonaro's supporters.
Well, Maybe it exists, but I don't know. It's very brainwashed. Those people.
Angelo says, we are so afraid about a global communism. That's a great job.
And
Yeah, a global, a global
the
communism.
fun part is I can. I am looking forward a global communism. I really do. So
That's two things that I don't fear. And I believe that's going to be good for the global economy and the global survivors. That's going to be a global system of power electricity and a global system of communism. With a global system of communism, everybody sharing with everybody, we're not going to have people dying for food nowhere in the world.
yeah,
It's going to be very, very good. But anyway,
I'm just waiting for Star Trek reality. I'm not gonna see that, but we can always dream.
of course, now you need to explain the Star Trek reality because I believe that someone here didn't watch Star Trek.
Maybe another day because that could take a long
Yeah.
time. But the
Okay,
bottom line is
we are
in
going to
Star Trek.
explain Star Trek reality tomorrow. And for today, we just have to say thank you for staying with
Thank you,
us
thank you
until
everyone.
this time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Nice night for everyone. Night night.